I was going to say about the client I got a call from this morning.
Yeah.
She has a Shetland sheepdog, and she's recently been diagnosed with progressive retinal atrophy.
Oh, yes, yes.
So I kind of just want to get some information from you so I can sort of best explain to her and sort of what we go from there.
No worries, yeah. Okay, so for starters, PRA is autosomal recessive. So it's a genetic disorder, and you really need to be able to explain that to the client that it's autosomal recessive, especially if she's interested in breeding. Has she bred at all?
Yeah.
Is she interested in it?
She's very interested in breeding, yeah.
Very interested in breeding. Do you know what she's bred with, by any chance?
Yeah, that's in the case I'd say Shetland cattle dog.
Cattle dog. Cool. Okay. So it is important that you talk about the way that autosomal recessive disorders work. I recommend using this table. It's really simple. So it kind of just compares the mother and father and if they're affected or carriers and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mother of the puppies is affected, which she is. She has 2 mutated alleles because it's recessive, obviously. And from there, it's like down to the father to determine if they're going to be carriers or affected. So because the father is a different breed, this is where it gets complicated.
Oh, okay.
In the Shetland sheepdog, which is the mother, the mutation is on a gene on chromosome 13 called CNGA1.
Oh.
And what happens here is there's a 4 base pair deletion, which inserts a stop codon, which shouldn't be there, so a premature stop codon, and that shrinks the entire protein it codes for by 107 amino acids.
Oh, okay.
So the rods and cones aren't doing so great. On the father, it's a PRCD mutation, which is on chromosome 9. So it's a completely different gene and it codes for something completely different. And that's just a cysteine to tyrosine swap once the amino acids have been coded through. So it's 2 completely different mutations on 2 different recessive disorders. Because PRA is kind of like a generalized term for a group of these disorders.
Right, alright.
Together.
So is there a way we can work out which of the puppies have the condition or whether or not they get them or not?
Yeah, well, okay, so hypothetically, we're going to assume that the father is affected as well. So worst case scenario. So we've got our affected mother here with 2 mutations on chromosome 13. And we've got our affected father with 2 mutations on chromosome 9. So what happens with your normal recombination of chromosomes during breeding is we're going to have these non-affected chromosome 9 from the mother and an affected chromosome 9 from the father, and we'll end up with a carrier for PRCD, and the same is going to happen over here for chromosome 13 and have a CNGA1 carrier. So the puppies will be heterozygous for 2 different disorders and end up being carriers for both. So you need to be able to explain to the client that they're carriers, and if she wants to breed from them, then they're going to have to test who they're going to breed with, just to be sure it doesn't recombinate again, and we end up with a mutation, coming in from another animal and coming into those.
Alright, cool.
Yeah.
And like treatment-wise, is there anything we can do?
Treatment, there is trials for this thing called Occuglow. I'm not sure how effective it is. I think it's in this book. So Occuglow, pretty much, it's antioxidants and things like that. So you know how antioxidants kind of prevent cellular aging and things like that because they break down your reactive oxygen species and all that? Yeah? So it pretty much just slows the progression of the disease by keeping those reactive species at bay and things like that, because the proteins are really sensitive in the back of the eye because they're mutated. So it kind of just slows it down and keeps it at bay, but it doesn't prevent it, and in some cases it doesn't even work. So the client does need to know that.
Is it worth getting in contact with the owners of the other puppies that she's probably sold off to check that they're not also carriers for this disease?
Yes and no. I mean, if the owner has access to those details, then definitely. But it's also, there's not much chance they're going to pass it on if they do decide to breed because they're going to have to breed with the right breed for it to recombine.
Alright, so I'll make a note of that. What sort of testing do we need to do to work out which dogs have it?
Yeah, testing. Okay, so pretty much you can send it away to a lab called Optigen in the US, or I could do it here by doing a double polymerase chain reaction, so your PCR.
Yeah.
I can do that twice to test for both genes. Polymerase chain reaction, we're going to take DNA samples from the puppies and mix those samples with primers that code for the mutations and the normal gene sequence.
Right.
So we can test if they're heterozygous or homozygous through using that method.
Yeah.
So we combine those primers with some DNTPs and Taq polymerase enzyme and some buffers and nutritive solutions so that it all does that. And then we do our sets of denaturation, annealing and extension.
Right.
And this repeatedly shrinks the DNA segments, so we eventually end up with our target sequences.
Yep.
So we can see, because we know how many base pairs there are in the mutated and the normal, so in CNGA1 there's going to be 4 less in the mutated sequence than in the normal. So through capillary electrophoresis, we can look at the number of base pairs that we have in each of those sequences that we shrunk down and targeted.
Yeah.
And from looking at that, we can determine if the animal is homozygous affected or non-affected, or if it's heterozygous carrier from there.
Yeah. Do you have a preference on what, like you want a blood sample or buckle swab? Or
Yeah, I think I prefer a buccal swab or
Yeah.
a whole blood sample. Like either or should be fine.
I think that's it for now. Hi, Mrs. Carter.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good, thank you. Yeah, I called up to the receptionist. I was wondering if we could have a talk about the condition that the ophthalmologist explained to me the other day with Beyonce.
Yeah. Hey, Beyonce, how you doing? She's very cute.
Yeah, she's been running into things, and apparently she was diagnosed with PRA.
Yeah. So I'm just reading the case notes, and I spent the day researching and talking to our geneticists on site about this condition, so I can provide you with all the information you need to know. And then from there we can go with what is the best sort of care we can give Beyonce. So have you heard of a condition called retinitis pigmentosa in people?
I think I saw it on a current affair a couple months back, but don't really know much.
Yeah, actually I think I saw that too. So what basically happens is, and I've got a fact sheet here for you to have a look at, is there's a slow breakdown of the cells that go through and read the light that comes in through your eyeball. And these are slowly breaking down, so this is what's causing Beyonce, as you said, to like walk into things because she's starting to not be able to see things just as well as she used to.
Okay.
And it's a progressive condition, so it could come down to her losing complete eyesight, but it'll happen slowly and over time, so she'll be able to adapt as time goes on. But the important thing here is that we can make her comfortable and she'll still have a happy and healthy lifestyle.
Oh, okay.
Is that sort of making sense?
Yeah, I understand, but I just need to make sure that Beyonce and her puppies are all going to be okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, are they going to be affected because I bred her with a cattle dog?
Yeah, I worked out with our geneticist the likelihood of the pup getting any disease. And I'll show you actually if you'd like to kind of see this diagram.
No, that would be good.
Worked out. So basically, the chromosomes from the mum and the dad, some of them are affected with the disease. So there's two sorts of sort of like mutations that we're looking for. And there's one that's in the Shetland sheepdog in Beyonce, and there's one in the cattle dog that the father is. Chromosome 9 and chromosome 13 from each parent. And the affected one in the Sheltie is on chromosome 13, and the affected one in the dad is on chromosome 9.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so if they were to cross over, it could end up providing two conditions, either the PRCD carrier or this other carrier which we call CNGA1. So you don't have to worry about the names of it, but basically it means that the chances are your puppies are going to be carriers for this disease. So they're not going to be showing the same signs that Beyonce has. They're going to live their life unaffected.
Okay.
It just means that if you were to breed your puppies, you may end up having puppies that also have the same condition that Beyonce has.
Okay, so you're saying all my dogs are going to end up having this condition, or then not?
Yeah, so at the moment we don't know. We have to take some blood tests, and then that way we can work out which puppies have what gene, and then we can find out sort of what we can do from there.
So now that she's been diagnosed with this condition, what treatment do I have? Like, is there surgery you can do, change her eyes, you're vets, you can work something out, right?
I'm going to do my best to help you and Beyonce and all of her puppies.
Thank you.
That's okay. That's what I'm here for. The main thing is, at the moment, because it's a new condition, there isn't very much in the way of treatment options that we can give to Beyonce.
So we can't fix her.
Well, no, it's not just that. Take a seat and I'll explain to you. Yeah.
My poor puppy.
I know. So similar to the human condition, they're in a lot of trial stages to find treatment options to stop this from happening.
Mm-hmm.
On this sheet I gave you, there is some information here about a treatment called Oculogen. It's sort of like a Berocca that we take, in that the vitamins and antioxidants, which are made up in it, can combat and slowly prevent the onset of the disease.
Okay.
So it's not a cure, it just means that the progression of the disease will happen slower. So that's definitely worth looking into, and I can do some more research for you if you'd like me to.
So what can I do for her in the meantime while we wait?
Yeah, so in the meantime, keep her happy, take her for walks and do all the fun things she likes to do. I recommend not to kind of change your furniture around in your house too much, just so that she can get familiar with the pattern or the layout of the house.
Yeah.
And if you're worried about her banging into things at night time, you can always close her into a bedroom or a laundry or something.
Yeah, I can do that. I can probably lock the three of them together.
Yeah. So do you have any more questions?
Just so with my puppies, I just want to know, like, if they're going to be okay. So I can breed with them, right?
You can. I mean, once we take the blood test and get the results back, we'll have a clearer picture.
Okay.
Because if you really want to breed with them, you can. We'll just have to test the male that the pups breed to is also not going to have any genetic conditions that may increase the chance of Blue and Ivy passing on the condition that Beyonce has.
Yeah, so I think we should do those tests then.
Yeah. So you can come in whenever it's convenient for you, and we can get some blood tests done.
Okay. I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you just give me one quick chrono?
Yes.
Just so I'm 100% sure.
So, like I said, you've got the rods and the cones, the light cells at the back of her eye, and they're slowly breaking down because of the
Okay, yeah, so their eyes are breaking down, it's mutation from both parents,
Yeah.
and then that's causing her to go blind.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, so I'll give you this to take home.
Okay, thank you for that.
And yeah, definitely book in with the receptionist and we can get these blood tests done.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much for your time.
That's okay. See you later.